Hello, everybody. It is your girl, Presh, and I'm back with another video. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell button so you never miss a video when I do upload. Don't forget to share my videos wherever with whoever so they know you rocks with your girl, though. Shout out to my 106 subbies. I love each and every one of you. Don't forget to check the description bar down below. If you're new here, hi, hello, and welcome. If you've been here before, what it do, baby, boo. Yeah, as y'all can see, we're in a different location. We're in the living room for this video because when I filmed it yesterday, I was just talking and I'm just like, and it got too long, sound like that. So I'm gonna give y'all a quick version of this video. Y'all know, what was I gonna? Oh, don't forget to check the description bar down below. You'll find all of my perfectly curated playlists. Don't forget, we already have content up. The playlist is down below. Y'all already know the link to the Facebook. And the IG handle is there as well, okay? But like I was saying, this is just my 2 cents on Britney Spears' new book, her memoir, The Woman in Me. Y'all, if you are a Britney Spears fan and you're somebody who's a part of the Free Britney movement, read this book. If you're somebody who's been concerned about what Britney's been doing on the internet as of lately, read this book. This book is something that is very informative and you need to read it. Even if you're like not a Britney fan, but you really just want to know like what went down during those 13 years of her conservatorship, read this book. If I was to describe the read for me, because I bought the book Tuesday, I finished it like Wednesday afternoon. It was a quick read, but it was like an interview, if you will. It was like Britney was like sitting down with like somebody like maybe a 60 minutes, 2020, a hold a copy or somebody, and she was just answering questions, if you will, like finally giving her account of everything from like her childhood until up until like now in the conservatorship, and basically telling us like what all of it was like for her. She talked about, her background, her family history, and she talked about her grandparents, and like how they were. And I would have to say that her father's father, June Spears Sr., is a piece of work. He was abusive, and he was somebody who strived for perfection, and he treated her father like a workhorse, a work mule, like, even to the point where he's tired and exhausted, he would tell him, do it again. That type of situation. And then, of course, her father wound up becoming like that as well, on top of an alcoholic. She talks about her grandmother, Emma Jean Spears, who only went by Jean, and how, her grandfather, like, drove that lady insane, and she was put in institution down there in Louisiana and given lithium after she was, in the process of grieving the loss of one of her kids. She, of course, wound up unaliving herself 8 years after the passing of that child. Um, and, Brittany talks about her mother's parents and how, her mother's father was someone who was very selfish. Like, he didn't allow her grandmother Lillian to leave. Like, she was almost like a hostage in her own home. And, it was said that her mother's father admitted that he felt like if his wife would have ever left him to go back home to London, she was never going to come back. And I feel like it's a possibility because she thought that she was going to have a life of glitz and glam in America, and that's not what it was. He took that lady to the country, down there in the woods of Louisiana. No, thank you. Brittany talked about how, her father kind of grew up like country like, and her mom grew up well off. And then when her mom and dad got together, her grandparents basically cut her mom off. And then, her parents, the beginning of their marriage was just trash. Her dad, was an alcoholic. He would drink a lot, but he wasn't the type of drunk that come home and boo bop you and the kids. He was the kind of drunk who wanted to be left alone to ponder life. And he was just like, I'm gonna get in the car and drive drunk. And, he would scare Brittany when she would get in the car with him because, drunks, they like mumble to themselves or whatever. And like that would scare her because she didn't know what was going on. He was drunk. He was out of his mind. She would talk about how her mom and dad would argue when she was little and how, her dad would come home drunk And her mama would be fussing with him. And, Brittany said she used to get out of her bed and say, girl, feed him and shut the fuck up. Like, not like that, but like, that was like how she felt like, girl, he the one drunk, but you the one in here making all that noise. Like, hush. Anyway, the time for that. She talked about how, even though her dad was like drunk and out of it, her mom was one that used to piss her off. She talked about how basically, she didn't really grow up with structure. Like her parents didn't necessarily parent her. She talked about like the only person she really like loved was her great grandmother, her grandfather's mother, Lexi, and how, her and Lexi was like that. Like that was her dog. Unfortunately, Lexi one day like hit a parked car. Her mom freaked out, told her she couldn't be left alone with Lexi unsupervised, and that like broke Brittany's heart because she didn't really understand the why. What else? She talks about her first taste of stardom and fame, being an understudy on Broadway. Um, the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, how she met Ryan Gosling and Christina Aguilera for the first time. How she had lied about her first audition, saying that she was like 9 when she was really 8. She talked about doing Star Search and gymnastics, her love of dance. She talked about how she had like sort of kind of like an agent named Nancy and stuff that helped her get into the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. That's when she met Justin. Justin was her first kiss. After they did that for a while, she went back home and she lived like a normal kid life into her teens. And she talked about, her first experience. She had a crush on this boy. Um, what else did she talk about? She talked about losing her virginity at like 14 to like this guy who was older than her. And then she talked about when she got her record deal at Jive Records at 16 and how she seen JC and Justin, because both of them was in the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse with her. And how they were in sync. The other Nikki girl she talked about in the book, she was in a group of Britney went solo. She talked about working with the producers and how she didn't want to sound like a pop star. She wanted to sound more R&B, because she loved Whitney and Mariah and Dolly. And like her first like housekeeper or whatever, like she would sing gospel music, so Britney always had like a little soul in her. She talked about how she was excited and giddy, but she didn't really like understand everything. She talked about how Baby One More Time, the video came about, and the fact that when she was in New York during that time, when she got her record deal and stuff, her mom's best friend, Miss Fee, Felicia, would basically be like her handler, the person to look after her at the time. And, Brittany talked about how that family perfectionist toxicity of being perfect came out of her because she wouldn't come out the studio until she felt like she was perfect. Um, she talked about how her dad, the family's history of that uh, toxic perfection trickled down to her dad doing it to her brother. Um, what else? And she just talked about like how the fame was for her and how, when she first started in the business, she wasn't known. She would have to go to the mall tours. People didn't have no clue who she was. Then when her video and her single came out, she was immediately famous. Um, she came up with the idea for the Baby One More Time video because they wanted to do kind of like the idea of hit Oops, I Did It Again. The Oops, I Did It Again video would have technically been the Baby One More Time video had Britney not spoke up. Britney also talked about in the book, like during her like teen years, how she loved playing basketball because her dad was amazing at basketball. So she played basketball because her dad played basketball, but she was a little bitty thing. So, but she loved basketball. She referenced basketball a couple times in the book. What else? Because I don't want this video to be too long, y'all. Let's say we talked about the family history, stardom, Justin. So, I wrote notes, notes, so I know bullet points. She talked about dating Justin and how, like the minute she got signed and they're like, they were like this. His family saw that they were, immediate. She was like head over heels in love with Justin. Of course, she talked about in the book, got to the part, the for she's, the for she's. And basically what Brittany was saying with that part was that Justin acted different when he saw black artists like Genuine. You know what I'm saying? She just was saying that he acted different than what he was when he was with her. And she literally said in her book she felt like NSYNC was trying too hard to fit in. That's basically all Brittany was saying, was he was trying too hard to fit in. And he should have just been himself. But she talked about how, like, NSYNC had swag. You know what I'm saying? That's what So Pimp was. Brittany was trying to say swag, even though So Pimp is so 90s. But she was just basically saying that NSYNC had a swag about them that, like, Backstreet Boys or 98. She didn't mention 98 Degrees, but it's another, like, white band. If you're a child of the 90s, 2000s, that NSYNC was like that white boy band that all of us of highly melanated complexion mess with. Cause tell me why "Gone" is your favorite NSYNC song. Yeah. She talked about, her and Justin dating. They lived together in Orlando. How, they were like so in love. She talked about basically Justin was out here cheating on her first. And she knew about it, but she let it slide like most women do. When you're head over heels in love, you like, I love him. It's part of the business. Whoop de whoop. She talked about the now infamous denim um outfit, and how she was basically joking about it because she knew Justin was gonna be wearing denim, so she was like, "Ooh, we should match." And she was like, "I was joking." Him and my stylist was like, "Okay, let's do it." And when she seen it, she was like, "Okay, we doing this." But she said she loves seeing people wear the denim outfits for Halloween and stuff. She really likes that, even though she know it was tacky. But she likes seeing people, in the outfits. So then she talked about, like I said, Justin cheated on her first, and she let it go. He would brag about it to people and stuff like that. And Brittany said, she was like completely loyal and devoted to him because she loved him. And the one time she got her lick back with Wade Robinson, she told him about it. And, he basically forgave her. They moved on, or so she thought. And next thing you know, Justin texted her and broke up with her. Because, mind you, they lived together in Orlando. And she was like, when he was in the process of working on his solo album, he started acting standoffish and shady towards me. And she said he broke up with her via text message or whatever. And so because of that, she wound up going back home, and she was just so distraught and so heartbroken. And the thing that really pissed me off the most about him was when she said that Justin had came to Louisiana to see her. Now, mind you, before that, because I realized I just skipped a part, she talked about the baby situation and how, she felt like the process of how they went through it was wrong. Like her not being in the hospital, as a medical professional being there to help her through the process. But when she was telling that part of the story, what pissed me off was when she said Justin came in the bathroom and laid on the floor with her while she's literally in tears crying because he thought music would help, and was strumming his guitar in her face. Trash. Like, don't get me wrong, I live for Justin Timberlake, but that was trash. But yeah, she said that, the breakup. And so when Justin came to Louisiana where she was to see her, the bastard had wrote her a letter, framed said letter, and gave it to her. I think she said he bought her flowers and something else too. But like, trash. She then said that, she was really heartbroken and tore up about it, and like, she didn't talk to nobody. She didn't talk to him. She didn't talk to her family. And the part of like their breakup that like hurt me the most was that she said that it wasn't just she had lost Justin, but she had lost like her only family she really truly cared about, because she talked about in the book, like when she would go spend the holidays and stuff, she wasn't spending with her mama and them. It was with Justin's family, because Brittany's family has been trash since the day she was born. And yes, that may have to do with the fact that her mother and father both grew up in like non-traditional family environment, and so they didn't actually know how to run a household and or be parents. that doesn't negate the fact that they're both trash human beings. But anyway, okay. Then of course she talked about like life after Justin, how she didn't actually give herself time to heal after her and Justin had broke up because she immediately started touring, you know, and she was still dealing with all of that. And as she's touring, trying to get herself back into the right state of mind, even though she hadn't fully healed. His album came out, and he's sitting on 2020 talking to Barbara Walters, and basically telling the whole wide world how Britney was a whore, a harlot, a skank, a slut. Not all of that, but in her book, Britney was like, he made her out to be a harlot, and how the entire world hated her because Britney had broken America's golden boy's heart. And Brittany in her book was like, and I like the fact that he negated to tell the world he cheated on me first with a whole gang of hoes. Like, but I'm the nasty trifling bitch, but you was cheating on me first out here with a whole gang of hoes. But I'm the problem. Okay. And she talked about how, like when she would go places during that time, people would boo her. People would like make her feel some type of way because people already felt like she was a horrible person because she wore little skimpy clothes and she was just like this cutesy, like sexy vixen. And it was a lot of parents who was like, she's not a good role model for our kids. And Brittany was like, bitch, I'm not trying to be a role model for your kids. I just want to sing and dance. When the fuck did I sign up to be a role model? Like, and I kind of like agree with Brittany. Like, why do y'all parents always want these celebrities and stuff to be role models for your kids? Them people ain't never say no shit about they was trying to be a role model. They just trying to make their money and go home. That's it. Okay. What Ebony said for Players Club, I just came here to dance for y'all and that's it. Basically, that's what Brittany said. But she came here to dance, twirl, and do a little singing. She ain't trying to be nobody role model. But nonetheless, Brittany said that she couldn't like tell her version of the events because Justin's version of what happened was already out there in the streets. And let's be honest, y'all know the saying, the lie be halfway around the world before the truth even gets its shoes on. And the fact that, even 20 years later, Britney's able to express how, she felt shamed and shunned. And she doesn't know if Justin ever fully sat back and thought about how the way he chose to promote his solo album affected her, not only negatively in the press, but like emotionally and mentally. She was already dealing with a lot with the fact that, again, she got a trash ass family. The media was painting her already as some dumb bimbo. Like it was already a lot going on. And then you put that shit on top of her, yeah. But nonetheless, Brittany was able to, in some sort of way, get over it, I feel, but she still was, hurt by it. And that's basically what she was saying, like, because she put a statement out, like, before the book came out to let her know she's not trying to harp on the past. She was using this as a way to, like, get over it. You know what I'm saying? Finally get that shit off her chest. But, I feel like by her telling what happened during her relationship with Justin and the after effects of it is to let people know that he's moved on with his life. I moved on with my life. But that still hurt. That somebody I loved with every fiber of my being did that to me. Painting me out to be a horrible human being. And I wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all Brittany was trying to say with her chapter and a half of her relationship with Justin. So after that, she talks about, going over her life, trying to get back in a good space, doing the song with Madonna, and how the reason Madonna got on Me Against the Music was because her record label at the time didn't even like the song. And Brittany was like, this is a fire song. But she was like, okay, if y'all don't want to promote it, how about we get a feature on it? And they was like, okay, we could do that. And she was like, how about Madonna? So they reached out to Madonna's people. Madonna did it. And Brittany said the kiss with Madonna wasn't supposed to actually be like a full-on kiss. It was supposed to be like an air kiss, like a, and she said she went in for it and kissed Madonna. I believe she said she asked Madonna beforehand or whatever the case may be. But yeah, Brittany kissed Madonna. Now Madonna kissed Brittany. I mean, they kissed each other, but Brittany initiated the kiss. She was like, fuck it. We finna be free in this bitch. After that, she talks about, like how she went on, she was able to do all these things. She felt free. She was living her life. She talked about her 55-hour marriage and how she just thought it was funny. Her family, of course, first read a sign that anytime she did something like that, they immediately rallied around her and was like, oh my God, you're being stupid. You shouldn't do stuff like this. And they were always like shaming her and making her feel some type of way. And she talked about how whenever somebody got close to her is when they started coming in trying to act like a protective family, like they actually gave a fuck about her well-being. She, of course, did talk about her relationship with her sister and how, she was an overprotective big sister, of course, but she just felt like her sister was just like ungrateful at some point. Um, she talked about her and Kevin Federline, how they met, how, a lot of people feel like Britney omitted the fact that she did know about him and Shar Jackson. If you have no idea who that is the actress who played Niecy on Moesha. That was like a whole big thing when that happened. But Brittany said she didn't know. And when she asked him about it, he was upfront honest with her, whatever the case may be. And she talked about how when it came to him, Kevin, because she talked about like the first time like they really truly interacted, she was like rehearsing for a tour and she wound up messing up her knee and she just cried and he held her in the swimming pool. And she talked about how people always say she should have been with somebody of a different social class and how she just was like, well, how do I tell people I just want to be held? You know what I'm saying? And I'm actually going to read y'all the quote from the book. So this will be, let me stop finding it. The excerpt from the book. Um, da, da, da. So this is something that she said that I really resonated with. She said, I feel like a lot of women, and this is definitely true of me, can be as strong as they want to be and can play this powerful role. But at the end of the day, after we've done our work and made our money and taken care of everyone else, we want someone to hold us tight and tell us everything's going to be okay. I'm sorry. I know it sounds progressive, but I think it's a human impulse. We want to feel safe and alive and sexy all at the same time. And that's what Kevin did for me. So I held on to him like there was no tomorrow. And I definitely agree with that because I feel like as women, we do want to be able to be powerful, independent, and bosses. But at the end of the day, we just want somebody to make us feel sexy and make us feel like we could be in our quote unquote soft girl era, in our femininity, if you will. So I definitely was like, okay, Brittany girl, I see you. After that, of course, Brittany talked about how they got married. They had a secret wedding and things like that. Y'all already know all of that if you was alive during that time of age and all that. But she talked about like what it was like going through her relationship with Kevin, and she loved being pregnant, but she was mean. She talked about how she wound up cussing out some girl, I believe that was on Zoe 101 with her sister on her sister's behalf. And to whoever that was that Brittany cussed out, she apologized to you in her book, girl. But tell us, you should cuss her sister out now. Like, girl, you had your sister cussing me out, and you ain't even like your sister, old dusty self. But we're gonna get to Jamie Lynn. Then she talked about how Kevin decided he wanted to do music, and he started acting funky towards her. And I'm just like, why were you niggas? Y'all not niggas, but y'all know what I mean. Why would y'all decide y'all want to do y'all own thing? Y'all want to shit on my girl Britney? Like, no, thank you. So Brittany was talking about how I think around the time she was pregnant with their second son, and how their marriage was basically falling apart. He started being distant. He was out here partying, having a good time. She even said how he told her one time he was at a party with Justin, and she was like, "Okay, your point. I used to date him. You're not telling me nothing I don't know, boo boo. Like, excuse you." Anyway, so something that I found funny, she was talking about how he would go from like New York to Vegas to record this little album. And this right here cracked me up. She was like, she said when I found him, he had his head shaved. He was getting ready to shoot the cover for his album. He was in the studio all the time. He really thought he was a rapper now. Bless his heart. because he did take it so seriously. Like, let me tell you something. If you're from the South, you already know what that bless your heart means. You know exactly what that bless his heart means. You know exactly what that means. And I cackled when I read that. I was like, period, Brittany, because bless his little heart. And she talked about how, like, he was just being distant with her and she was trying to save their marriage, but she eventually had to realize, like, this ain't it. She said her lawyer at the time told her that she had to file for the divorce first, because if Kevin did it, I think they would have said that he was trying to get money out of her or something or another. I don't think he signed a prenup. I don't think that she said anything about a prenup. But of course, he wound up, she filed for the divorce and then it was all, everywhere. And then eventually, because Brittany was out here doing her own thing, living her life, I think she said at the time she was like on Prozac or something or another. He basically started gaslighting her and making it seem like she was crazy and she was an unfit parent. And she talked about when she shaved her head and stuff like that, because she was literally going through it with Kevin. And so, let me see if I can find it. Hold on. So she said, so this is what she said. She said, in February, after not getting to see the boys for weeks and weeks and completely beside myself with grief, I went to plead to see them. Kevin wouldn't let me in. I begged him. Jaden James was 5 months old and Sean Preston was 17 months old. I imagine they're not knowing where their mother was wondering why she didn't want to be with them. I wanted to get a battering ram to get to them. I didn't know what to do. The paparazzi watched it all happen, and I can't describe the humiliation I felt. I was cornered. I was out being chased like always by these men waiting for me to do something they could photograph. And so that night I gave them some material. I went to a hair salon and I took the clippers and I shaved off all my hair. Everyone thought it was hilarious. Look how crazy she is. Even my parents acted embarrassed by me, but nobody seemed to understand that I was simply out of my mind with grief. My children had been taken away from me. With my head shaved, everyone was scared of me, even my mom. No one would talk to me anymore because I was too ugly. My long hair was a big part of what people liked. I knew that. I knew a lot of guys thought that long hair was hot. So this is my favorite part of her explaining why she cut her hair. She said shaving my head was a way of saying to the world, fuck you. You want me to be pretty for you? Fuck you. You want me to be good for you? Fuck you. You want me to be your dream girl? Fuck you. And I've been the good girl for years. I'd smile politely while TV show hosts leered at my breasts, while American parents said I was destroying their children by wearing a crop top, while executives patted my hand condescendingly and second guessed my career choices, even though I sold millions of records, while my family acted like I was evil and I was tired of it. And she went on to say some other stuff. She basically said, like, her children was like her special place. Like, she loved her kids. And so, like, when you finally hear Britney's reasoning for doing it, you like, girl, I applaud you for taking control even though your life was out of control. For being able to be in that moment, make a declaration that felt like she said, a fuck you to everybody at that point, because she was sick and tired of doing shit everybody else's way. And for that, I applaud Britney. After all of that, I guess her and Kevin were able to get some type of understanding and agreement. She, of course, was basically spiraling out again, and she was doing Adderall at this point. And she talked about in the book, she was going through a bad point in her life, and it was a lot of shit that was going on. She even talked about how she dated Colin Farrell for a little while, and then she talked about this married photographer she was dating around the time. And this is when the conservatorship happened. So her family tricked her into the conservatorship. And I'm gonna try and find the Give me a minute. I'm trying to find where it all happened. Okay, so I found it. So she said one day, no, that's not it. So she said one day her mom had called her, and her mom was like, Brittany, we feel like there's something going on. We hear that the cops are after you. Let's go to the beach house. The cops are after me, I said. For what? I hadn't done anything illegal that I knew for sure. I had my moments. I'd had my wild spell. I'd been high on Adderall and acted crazy, but I didn't do anything criminal. In fact, as she knew, I'd been with girlfriends the prior 2 nights. My mom and I had had a sleepover with my cousin Allie and two other girlfriends. Just come to the house, she said. We want to talk to you. So I went to the house with them. The photographer met me there. My mother was acting suspicious. When the photographer got there, he said, something's up. Yeah, I said, something's really off. All of a sudden, there were helicopters going around the house. Is that for me? I asked my mom. Is this a joke? It wasn't a joke. Suddenly, there was a SWAT team of what seemed like 20 cops in my house. What the fuck did I do? I kept shouting. I didn't do anything. I know I had been acting wild, but there was nothing I'd done that justified their treating me like I was a bank robber. Nothing that justified upending my entire life. She said later I'd come to believe something had changed that month, but since the last time I was brought to the hospital for evaluation, my father had struck up a very close friendship with Louise Lou Taylor. Fuck her. And she talked about how basically Brittany talked about how it was this entertainment company called TriStar Sports and Entertainment, how they basically built that bitch off her back, how her dad was in debt to the Louise lady for like $40,000, um how they was paying her father's lawyer, Andrew Wallet, fuck him, $426,000 a year. And the lawyer that they had appointed for her through the court was being paid $500,000, $500,000 a year. She talked about how basically her and her dad and the Lou lady and some bitch named Robin Greenhill, fuck her too, um, had basically come up with this like conservatorship, and how her dad had been appointed the what's it called, the conservator, and basically was paying himself a healthy salary, and he was getting paid more money off of her than she was making. She also said that TriStar had they was planning to become the co-conservator. She talked about how basically there were two different parts of the conservatorship. There was the conservator of her, and then it was the conservator of the estate. And she explained what that meant. She talked about how her mom basically had wrote this book and was basically saying that she was the happiest little girl in the world, and she was like her mama just basically acted like she wasn't concerned. uh she talked about how her mom had wrote the book saying that she was like parenting them right, and Brittany was like, bitch, all three of us is basket cases, girl. What the fuck is you talking about? She was like, girl, your youngest is a pregnant teenager, married, girl, go to hell. And so she talked about basically how her dad had became the conservator of her, and how the conservator is somebody who makes decisions for the conservative who can't like, who isn't like cognizant or whatever. I hope I'm using that word right. And how Brittany was like, who's like not functional. Brittany was like, bitch, I can function. I'm not stupid. And then of course, the conservative of the estate is basically making sure like you don't get frauded and people steal from you and stuff like that. And so she talks about how basically because her father was the conservator and things of that nature, she would have to like go see doctors, and they would appoint doctors and stuff to see her, and how basically they would gaslight her and say that the doctor says that she was off and she was crazy. She failed mental tests. They was admitting her to rehabs facilities and things like that as punishment when she didn't want to continue with the Vegas residency, and how basically they would gaslight her about seeing her children. She talks about how she was supposed to see her kids like for the summertime when she was doing her Vegas residency. I think she said during the second or third year when she was doing her Vegas residency, they basically was like, yeah, you can see your kids for 2 weeks. And she was like, 2 weeks? No, baby, that's not happening. And so because of that, they wanted Britney to announce she was going to do another Vegas show. She didn't do that. And that's when they admitted her to the hospital. They had her in the hospital by herself. They put her on lithium, which was the same drug that her grandfather had gave her grandmother. Um, and because she was on Prozac and Adderall, so they wound up putting her on lithium. She talked about her dad would gaslight her about her weight. It was those 13 years she was on that conservatorship was terrible. Of course, when Britney finally did, like, you know, people, her fans figured out, and she talked about the Free Britney movement and how, like, the fans was kind of putting two and two together, like, where is Britney? We ain't seen Britney. We also come to find out that her dad told Miss Felicia, her then like handler in the beginning of her career, that Britney didn't want to see her. When they put Britney on a conservatorship, they told that lady Britney didn't want to be bothered with her. And I think that because they knew that that lady was going to figure out what was going on and was going to she was going to do right by Britney. Britney talked about how anytime somebody would try and like help her, the people would basically disappear. She talked about how like a hairstylist told her she needed to like stand up for herself. That lady no longer did her hair. Like if she said anything wrong, or if she told a dancer something she didn't want to do a certain dance move, they go tell her dad, and then she would be getting put into an institution, and they be saying that, oh, you're around here taking energy supplements that's not a part of your dietary supplement and things of this nature. And so, like when Britney's fans realize like we ain't seen Britney in a while, what's going on? And so, she said a nurse at the facility had showed her the Free Britney movement, and she was able to go home. And she said by the time she got home, she was still under the conservatorship, but her family was trying to act like they wasn't being assholes to her. Her dad and them was like, oh my God, we love you. We so proud of you. She was like, her sister was like, hey girl. And she was like, bitch, like, it was a lot. Of course, Brittany talked about how she was able to say her own words to the judge and was able to, have the judge take her seriously. She was able to get her own lawyer. She found out that they had been lying to her about not being able to replace her lawyer. Um, she was grateful for her lawyer and everything he had done for her. The boyfriend, who was the now husband, I still don't trust him. Um, she talked about, she doesn't trust doctors because of everything she's been through. The 13 years she was on a conservatorship, Brittany does not trust doctors. And I don't blame her, but she talks about like she gets like really bad migraines and stuff, but she still ain't going to see no doctor. That's out the question. She talks about how, she loves being able to, take her own pictures and dance and things on Instagram, because when she was under the conservatorship, when she would want to switch up the things she did on her tour, her dad would tell her no. And Brittany said she chose to rebel by basically being a robot. If y'all go watch, I think it's like her American Music Awards performance, literally Brittany was like a robot. Like she refused to dance. Like Britney was not giving them nothing. And now it makes sense why Britney was like that, because she was rebelling against what was happening to her. So, when you watch those old performances, you now know Britney was dancing like a robot, barely moving, barely singing, because she was rebelling against her father and her family and the conservatorship, and she was taking what little bit of control she could over her life, even though she was being forced to perform and sing and do things she didn't want to do. Reading that about the conservatorship, that honestly broke my heart. Hearing the way her family treated her, like if she said no, if she spoke her mind, she was being locked up in the institution. They was force feeding her to take the medication. It was making her feel like she was crazy. They was telling her that she was fat when she wasn't. She was on a diet. She couldn't see her kids when she wanted to. Like, it was horrible. Like, reading that book, like whenever she brought up her dad and that conservatorship and her mom, it made me angry. And I just want to say to the entire Spears family, fuck each and every one of you. Fuck Louise Taylor. Fuck Robin Greenhall. Fuck the lawyer man who wasn't helping Britney. Like fuck you. Um Fuck Kevin Federline. Fuck Justin Timberlake. Um like fuck all of y'all, especially her mother for going along to get along, especially when she got back with Britney's father. Knowing just girl, fuck you. And the fact that there's people out there like, oh, her mama went back to teaching. Okay. If y'all was any smart down there, the people wherever that mama lady teaching at, you better read Britney book and get her away from your children. That bitch ain't to be trusted. I wouldn't trust her with my child. She not to be trusted with her own. Um, I ain't got too much to say about Britney's brother because it's basically like he wasn't there. But fuck you too for not helping your sister. To Jamie Lynn Spears, we like the same age. I think she might be a year or two older than me because I'm 31. I think that bitch the same age as me. Fuck her. I understand your disdain for your sister is from you being in her shadow, but I feel like you should have more compassion for your sister. Granted, you probably grew up probably in the same toxic environment she did, and it probably was worse. Because at this point, Britney has money. You know what I'm saying? But for you to be the little ungrateful piece of shit, like Britney said that you are, and you treated your sister the way that you did, and then you wrote that fuck ass book, girl, fuck you. Motherfuck you. You little bitch. We the same age. I could fight you on Britney's behalf, bitch. What's up? I joke, I kid, but girl, fuck you. I'm glad that Britney is free to do her own thing. Britney don't do music no more. It's sad, but I feel like if Britney was to ever do music, it would truly have to be something she wants to do for her. But I doubt Britney Spears will ever like make music to make it. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely say if you're somebody who has been concerned about Britney and everything she got going on lately, read her book. She's free. Y'all was saying free Britney to is Britney's free? Baby, Britney is free. Do I feel like she does maybe need somebody to just check on her every once in a while? Yes. But just let her be. Baby, Britney is free. And that is the woman in me. I hope y'all enjoy my little recap of the book. I definitely give Britney's The Woman in Me a 8 out of 10. Like I said, it was more like she was doing like an interview type situation where she was just answering questions that we always wanted to know. I do feel like she probably did omit a lot of things out of her book. Probably because she still is probably, I think, legally fighting her family to get her fucking life back. But nonetheless, if you're somebody who has been a Britney Spears fan like me, somebody who's, love Britney, care about Britney, you was a part of the Free Britney movement, read her book. It ain't gonna take you that long to read, depending on how fast you read. It's not gonna take you that long to read. It's not that quick. I think the book has 280 pages if you get it on Kindle. I'm not sure about like the actual hard copy, but I got a Kindle version. I didn't want the Audible version because I didn't like the voice I heard online that people were playing of the book. And I know that Brittany didn't want to do her own reading of her book because, to relive all that shit is probably really painful. So yeah, y'all, that is all. That is it. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell button so you never miss a video when I do upload. And don't forget to share my videos wherever with whoever. Okay, I love y'all. Bye.